A political storm may be gathering inside Jamaica's People's National Party as reports of a possible leadership challenge, internal dissatisfaction, and shifting alliances raise fresh questions about the opposition's party unity. At the center of the speculation are PNP President and opposition leader Mark Golding and Northwestern Catherine Member of Parliament Damion Crawford. Neither Crawford nor the party has formally announced a presidential contest. However, reports suggest that influential members are already considering the future direction of the 88-year-old political organization following its defeat in the September 2025 general election. The emerging tensions came at a critical time for a party that made considerable electoral gains in 2025, but still failed to remove the Jamaica Labour Party from office. While the PNP doubled its parliamentary representation from 14 to 28 seats, the JLP secured 35 constituencies and a third consecutive term in government. The result left the PNP substantially stronger in parliament, but again confronting the difficult question of whether its current leadership can carry the party across the finish line at the next election. Mark Golding has led the PNP since November 2020, when he defeated Lisa Anna in an internal presidential election. Under his leadership, the party recovered much of the ground lost in the devastating 2020 general election, when it won only 14 of Jamaica's 63 parliamentary seats. The 2025 result, therefore, presents the party with a complicated political calculation. Golding can point to a dramatic improvement in the PNP's parliamentary position and a significantly reduced JLP majority. His supporters may argue that the rebuilding process is incomplete and that changing leadership now could interrupt the party's progress. His critics, however, could argue that the 2025 election represented the PNP's best opportunity to defeat the JLP after nearly a decade in opposition. Despite opinion polls and campaign momentum suggesting a close contest, the party fell short. This has reportedly contributed to a belief among some members that the PNP may require a different leader before the next general election. According to a July 13 report by Nationwide News, Golden is widely expected to face a presidential challenge when the party next puts its leadership to a vote at its annual conference in September 2027. The report identified Damion Crawford as the most likely challenger. It attributed the information about internal support and manoeuvring to unnamed party sources, meaning those claims have not been independently or publicly confirmed by the principal figures. Damion Crawford emerges as a possible challenger. Crawford is among the PNP's most recognizable and energetic political figures. He has developed a strong following through his speaking style, media presence, and frequent appearances at party meetings. His election as Member of Parliament for Northwestern Catherine in the 2025 election also returned him to the House of Representatives and strengthened his position with the parliamentary opposition. Nationwide News reported that Crawford has been quietly assembling support for a possible challenge. The report claimed that he could have the backing of at least 12 of the PNP's 28 members of parliament. That figure remains an allegation attributed to unnamed sources, and there has been no public declaration from those MPs confirming their support for Crawford. A leadership campaign would ultimately depend on more than parliamentary backing. PNP presidential contests are decided through the party's internal delegate structure, meaning that constituency organizations, regional leadership, and grassroots networks would play a decisive role. Crawford's popularity on political platforms could give him a strong foundation, but it would not automatically translate into control of the delegate machinery. Golding, as incumbent president, retains access to an established organizational network and the support of senior figures who may prefer continuity over another potentially divisive leadership election. Dwayne Va's resignation fuels speculation. The resignation of Westmoreland Central MP Dwayne Vaz from the PNP shadow cabinet has intensified speculation about the party's internal divisions. The PNP confirmed on July 12 that following discussions with Golding, Vaz had stepped down as deputy spokesperson on roads and works to focus on his constituency responsibilities. The party thanked him for his service but did not publicly identify any disagreement between Vaz and Golding. Nationwide News subsequently reported that Vaz had expected to be promoted to the full roads and works portfolio following the resignation of Richard Azan. According to that account, Vaz was advised that he would not receive the promotion and should concentrate on his constituency. The report further alleged that Vaz's allies viewed the decision as political victimization because he is considered close to Crawford. They reportedly believe that granting Vaz a full shadow portfolio would have provided a Crawford ally with a larger national platform. These claims have not been confirmed in the PNP's public statement. Vaz has also not publicly declared that his departure from the shadow cabinet was connected to a Crawford leadership campaign. For now, the official position remains that he stepped aside to concentrate on constituency work. Nevertheless, the timing and limited explanation have allowed political speculation to flourish. Vaz is also reportedly considering a challenge to Colin Itchman for leadership of the PNP's Region 6, which covers Western Jamaica. Such a contest could become an early test of the respective organizational strength of the party's emerging factions. Westmoreland dispute deepens the difficulty. The PNP is simultaneously dealing with fallout from a separate internal dispute in Westmoreland involving Vaz and former Savannah Lamar councillor Julian Chang. Chang resigned from the PNP on June 29 following a prolonged disagreement with Vaz and members of the constituency organization. She had accused Vaz of sexual harassment and of being involved in efforts to remove her from a divisional leadership position. Vaz has strongly denied the allegations and threatened legal action. The PNP said it had made considerable efforts through its internal structures to address and mediate the dispute, but those efforts were unsuccessful. Chang subsequently became a member of the governing JLP after her application was reportedly approved by the party's standing committee. The move clears the way for her to sit with the JLP's minority caucus in the Westmoreland Municipal Corporation. It does not threaten the PNP's control of the corporation, where the party retains a substantial majority. However, the episode carries political consequences beyond a single council seat. It raises questions about the PNP's ability to resolve internal disputes and retain elected representatives, particularly in Westmoreland, traditionally regarded as one of its strongest parishes. The risk of another factional struggle. The PNP has a recent history of deeply contested leadership elections. The 2019 presidential battle between the then President Peter Phillips and challenger Peter Bongton divided the party into the One PNP and the Rise United camps. Although Phillips retained the presidency, the contest left political wounds that continued into the 2020 general election campaign. Another prolonged leadership battle could recreate similar problems. Members may begin identifying themselves primarily with either Golding or Crawford, weakening cooperation inside constituency organizations and parliamentary opposition. The reported timetable presents an additional risk. If a presidential vote is not expected until September 2027, the party could face more than a year of unofficial campaigning, private negotiations, and factional positioning. That could distract the PNP from scrutinizing the government and presenting itself as a credible alternative administration. There is also a possibility that tensions will affect shadow cabinet appointments, regional elections, and candidate selections. Decisions that would normally be treated as administrative could increasingly be interpreted through the lens of an emerging leadership contest. Not yet an open leadership war. Despite the speculation, it would be premature to conclude that the PNP has entered a formal presidential race. Crawford has not officially declared a challenge. Golding has not announced that he will leave the position, and the party has not confirmed that rival leadership camps are operating within its structures. Some of the strongest claims, including the reported number of MPs supporting Crawford and the suggestion that Vaz was denied promotion because of his political allegiance, come from unnamed sources. They should therefore be treated as reports of internal sentiment, not established findings. It is also possible that the party could manage the situation without an openly destructive contest. Political organizations routinely debate leadership and succession, particularly after an election defeat. Such discussions do not automatically amount to a crisis. Golding supporters can credibly argue that the PNP's 2025 improvement demonstrate that its strategy is working. Crawford's potential supporters may counter that the party needs a younger, more charismatic leader capable of converting enthusiasm into a national majority. That debate could be handled as a legitimate discussion about the PNP's future, or it could develop into another bitter factional struggle. What happens next? The clearest signs will emerge from the regional elections, shadow cabinet changes, public endorsements, and the conduct of senior party members. Any formal declaration by Crawford would transform the current speculation into a genuine presidential contest. Attention will also be paid to whether Golding can maintain unity among the PNP's 28 MPs and whether additional elected representatives resign from the party or opposition positions. The handling of the dispute in Westmoreland will remain another important measure of the leadership's ability to contain internal conflicts. For now, the PNP is not in a formally declared leadership war, but the combination of an unresolved debate over the 2025 defeat, the emergence of Crawford as a possible challenger, Vass's departure from the shadow cabinet, and Shang's defection to the JLP suggests that political fault lines are becoming more visible. The central question is no longer simply whether the party has internal differences. It is whether those differences can be managed constructively, or whether they will grow into a prolonged struggle that undermines the PNP's attempt to return to government. Subscribe today, turn on notifications, and never miss the stories that matter most. Jamaica News Now, your Highlands, your news, right now.